Horry County Fire Rescue in South Carolina is I'm working with them right now, and Chief Joe Tanner and Captain Tim Prince from there. They're going to lend us some gear to use for now. All of our gear is out of service due to the fire. Going to help us with some air packs as well. We have reached out to manufacturers to get some new stuff in. However, that takes time. You know, they have orders already in process. So they're being very forward and upfront with us about the timeline, and they're making concessions to get that stuff here as quick as they can. So we appreciate that from all the manufacturers. If you drive past the firehouse, it looks much like a lot of other places in this town, a disaster area from all the equipment that we have here and going through and trying to decontaminate and see what's usable and what's not usable. I can't say enough about the guys and gals that I have working for me. They are probably more tired than I am, and they are still down there at it, hard as could be. I have to make them go home at this point to make sure they get enough rest. With the donations we've received, I cannot begin to express the gratitude that we have for everything that the community has come together for and sent to us. I won't even begin to list all of the organizations because I would forget somebody, and I would feel really, really horrible about that. But we are so very, very thankful and gracious for all your generosity and thinking that, to take care of us. However, with that being said, as gracious as we are, we don't need anything else, folks. I promise you, we have plenty. We're going to start figuring out ourselves where we can start sending some stuff to, because quite frankly, we've run out of room to store stuff and we couldn't use all of it, and we don't want to see anything go to waste. So if there's anybody else that has any further donations, food or beverage wise, that they were thinking of bringing to us or wanting to do to us that isn't already prearranged, please think of donating to other organizations that might need it. The Red Cross, Salvation Army, Angels for Animals, Social Concerns, Caring Hands, different organizations like that, any of your local food banks, community shelters, anything like that. We love the fact that you guys have really stepped up and care for us and want to make sure that we have the things that we need. But honestly, we have everything we need. Let's take care of these other organizations and other places in town that may need some help. We're not going anywhere. We are staffing the station still, and we will continue to do that through this emergency. As I said, I have to force my people to go home. They want to make sure that the citizens of this town are safe. That is our number one goal and has been throughout, and we are and always will be dedicated to doing that. So citizens do not worry. We are still here. We are still protecting you, and we will do that at whatever means we need to do. I'll turn it over now to Director Clark.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I just have a few updates on some of the things that we had going on. We all know we had the Red Cross shelter open. So the Red Cross shelter closed today at noon. As soon as the evacuation order was lifted last night, all the people that had been staying at the shelter left. We kept it open till noon today just in case somebody went home, decided they didn't feel safe, and wanted a place to stay, so that they didn't have anybody come back. So they did shut down around noon. We are incredibly grateful for the support of the Red Cross and how quickly they were able to get that shelter established for the residents. Also have to thank the Salvation Army. They helped support the shelter with feeding operations. And if you didn't see, they were back in town this morning cooking breakfast and handing out hot meals right across the street here this morning. I know we had a rumor hotline open at my office. We were doing that every day from 8 to 6. We haven't really gotten that many calls today, so we're going to cut that off tonight at 6. Everybody knows how to get a hold of me. If you still have a question that you can't get answered, please feel free to do so. During the emergency, Ohio Edison shut the power off temporarily due to concerns about a substation that was very close to the derailment site. They're going to switch that back over again, probably within the next few hours. There might be a quick blip of power, but we shouldn't see anything substantial from that. Just wanted to make everybody aware that that's a planned event and nothing else is going on. Lots and lots of questions about stuff that people need to know. We have over here all of the important numbers that everybody needs to know. So if people have questions about getting reimbursed for out-of-pocket expenses, please reach out to the Norfolk Southern Family Assistance Center. If you have questions about how to get your home screened for the air inside, please call the home air screening line. If you have questions for the Ohio EPA, so they could answer questions about creeks, streams, drinking water, surface water, anything like that, please give them a call at that 614-644-2160. Questions about the air quality. The U.S. EPA has started posting all of the information that they have collected during the air monitoring process on that website. So EPAOSC.org. Go there and click on the East Palestine train derailment, and it actually shows you the results of the air testing that they have done. If you have questions about your health or safety, call that CTEH toxicology line. They can put you in touch with a physician who specializes in that. They can talk you through any questions that you may have about the chemicals and the safety. If you have questions about livestock or produce, anything like that, you can call the county extension office. They can talk to you about what to do with your pets or livestock or anything that was left in the area that wasn't evacuated. They can help you with that. And lastly, if you have unmet needs, please contact the Community Action Agency. They can help with money for temporary housing or paying bills or anything like that. Please give them a call at 330-424-4103. We are getting a huge number of requests for the home air screening. I was told a little while ago that they've had 300 requests so far. So they are going to work diligently to get down through that. It takes about a half an hour to do each home. So when you times that by 300, that's quite a bit. They currently have 4 teams that are working 10 hours a day. So they're going to try to get through that as quickly as they can. But please be patient because with that number, it's going to take a little while to get those all done. That's all I have, Mayor.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon. Mayor Trent Conaway. I think everybody here knows me now. I just want to thank all our citizens for coming back into town in a timely manner. It was a pretty smooth operation. No incidents that I've heard of. Everybody came back in. I know everybody's still frustrated. There's still smells in their house. We're working through that. The testing's still going on. Ohio EPA, U.S. EPA is still on scene. CTEC, they're going around and they have a person with the EPA with them. So we're not just taking the word of a contractor for Norfolk Southern. We actually have the EPA there too, and our law enforcement officer. So just be patient. We're working as diligently as we can, and I just want to thank everybody for their understanding in these hard times. I'm glad we got everybody back in their house, and I just want everybody to feel safe in their homes. So the drinking water, as far as our contained system, is fine. They are testing it every day, so if anything would change, we'll definitely alert everybody immediately. There is some runoff in the streams still, as you can smell. It goes under here, but EPA is on it. Ohio EPA is on it. They are monitoring the situation. Norfolk Southern contractors are trying to remedy the situation, so it's going to be a process. And this is the second part. We had the emergency. It's dying down, but now we have to go into the part and make sure our citizens are safe. We will hold their feet to the fire. Norfolk Southern's feet to the fire, as I say, and make sure that everything's done right. If it's not done right, we'll be contacting. I've talked to our senator, Congressman Johnson, Senator Vance, the Columbiana County Commissioners. We're going to do our best I can to hold their feet to the fire. So,
On a personal note for me and my officers, for everybody, including all you folks and your 6.5 million emails you sent me requesting interviews. I apologize that I have not got back to anybody. Quite frankly, I'm just too busy. At some point, I will look at maybe trying to get back to all of those and answering all of the well wishes and the not so well wishes and the media requests. But I just want to put a blanket thank you out to everybody who's reached out to us.
As the same, my email went down this afternoon, so if I haven't returned your email, I apologize. I promise you if it's in there at some point, I will get back to you. So. I also would like to thank, I forgot to mention a lot of people last night. It's been a long 5 days, but the county EMA, Peggy Clark, Brian Rutledge, and then Commissioner Waggle, they all three have been a godsend. I don't know how we would have made this through this tragedy without them. They've, what we didn't know, they try to help us out to understand and get us with the right agencies we need to talk to. So I do want to thank them. So
Invaluable.
yes. I guess we'll open up to questions. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I've been speaking to residents today. One man was very frustrated after seeing the trucks that I guess Norfolk Southern and Cruise are bringing in to get the rail equipment out, that they're driving through potentially hazardous materials on the ground and then going straight through town and bringing that out. They're not being washed off before they leave that hazardous material site. Can you comment on that?
We actually just in contact with them about that. They are bringing in street sweepers and they're going to start sweeping the streets. I told them it needs to happen immediately. I was made aware of the situation. I was out of town for a little bit this afternoon on business, but I was on contact with everybody here and we are taking care of that. The steps will be made very shortly to get that under control.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
are you going to instruct the residents to stay inside during that process and let them know when that process is going to take place, so they will not be outside when that dust is airborne?
I don't know. I'm going to have to consult with the EPA and make sure. It's more of a mud issue right now, so I think the trucks they're going to bring in are going to put water down too to help control the dust, so it's not a huge cloud. But I will get back to you. I don't know the exact answer to that question, but I will see that our residents are safe.
Chief, you're aware of any gas problems, natural gas issues that some people are having?
The only gas issue I'm aware of, and Peggy, if I misspeak, please interrupt. There was a gas line that ran down through that area. We were in contact with the TC Energy, I believe it is. They did come out. They did shut that station down, did purge that line prior to them getting down in there and starting to tear things up. There was some damage, from my understanding, sustained to that line. So TC Energy is in there working diligently to try and get that line back up and get those homes and businesses, or our businesses affected by it well, that that don't have gas to operate right now. They're trying to get that repaired as quickly as they can to get the gas back up.
Some people don't have gas.
Yes, sir.
But they're working to fix the problem.
Absolutely. They are down there right now working as we speak. We talked to them prior to coming in here. Yes, sir.
For Peggy and for you, Chief, and whoever else has the information, the confidence that you've expressed that the air and the water quality is good and is safe for both people and animals, when can we and when can the people of East Palestine have the data to back that up? Can you compare that to those acceptable levels versus where those numbers are right now and put that into context for us?
So I'm not a scientist.
One second
so-
before you.
I'm sorry,
Now,
go
when
ahead.
you say water, do you mean our water system? Because there's three types of water here. We have groundwater, we have well water, and we have our water system. So
The
are you
water that people are consuming and using.
okay? That's our water system, a contained system. Okay, I just want to clarify that for everyone.
So we didn't just have one agency doing testing. So the air testing was being done by not only the contractor for the railroad, but by the US EPA and from the civil support team, which is a National Guard unit. So they were all three doing the testing, comparing all those numbers. Then those numbers were reviewed by the Ohio Department of Health, which puts very, very stringent restrictions on what the acceptable levels were. And that was reviewed the whole way up to the CDC before any decisions were made on that.
But as far as having access to those numbers, can we publish those since it's EPA data?
Yeah.
They're right there, sir.
Yeah, but
That
as,
website went live, to my knowledge, within a half hour of me walking over here, and I accessed that and started briefly looking at that reports, and all that information
yeah,
is there.
as she said, if you go to that website and click the East Palestine train derailment, it'll bring all that stuff up for you.
And as of tomorrow, they are going to start checking wells in the area. They're going to first start with the wells. There is a couple in town, and then they're going to start moving out on the outskirts of town, and then they're going to start moving down the creek to start checking, actual water wells of people that are drinking. They're taking care of all that. It's going to be Ohio EPA and CTEC, right?
And the county health
And the
department
county
is
health
involved in
department.
that
And
also.
CTEC is,
It's the contractor for Norfolk Southern to do all their environmental tests.
okay.
Sir, you had a question, sir?
I'm not sure about the quality of the water, bottled water, is that being brought in?
Yes, bottled water is being brought in to anybody with a well that doesn't think that if they're not unsure, they don't trust the water, then Norfolk Southern is making arrangements for anybody that was affected to have bottled water delivered.
And I believe that's being handled through that
Family
Community
assistance.
Assistance Center.
Yeah, that family
All
assistance.
right, sir, you've been patient and trying. Go with it, man.
I appreciate it. We've talked to many people who are still apprehensive about coming back into town, especially with the smell lingering.
Yep.
Is there any timetable that you've been told of when that smell might start to dissipate?
We haven't been told a timetable, but till they get the chemical out of the creek, especially by the creek area, that's where the smell is going to be. As far as the smell from the fire or the detonation, I was down by there earlier. I didn't smell anything, but also since COVID, my smell's been a little different. But but in the creek, there's definitely smell. You can smell it now. The creek runs under this building. You can smell it in the atmosphere now. So we don't know. We're just we're taking it day by day. So
Are businesses able to get that air testing done as well, that optional air testing?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. And how would they handle that for a place like Cardinal Welding that is pretty thick air already with all the dust that's going around? Is that EPA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the United States EPA, and yes, if they call the family assistance, it's for businesses too. I want to clarify that. I've been getting a lot of questions from business owners, and also any business that was infected inside the 1 mile radius will be they will be contacted by Norfolk Southern to help with any expenses that were incurred during this.
Have you heard about any bounce checks from Norfolk Southern? People getting bounce checks? Haven't heard that one?
I haven't heard that one. So,
That's a new one.
Yeah, I haven't.
Thanks, Dan.
Piggybacking off the business topic there, I was speaking with a business owner earlier. She said that she reached out to that assistance line, and they said they were taking care of kind of residential issues first. Is that what you've heard is the case, or is there a separate number that she should maybe call?
Any business inside the 1 mile they're going to personally go to. Outside, we're still working on that as of last night.
Yeah,
We're still in contact with Norfolk Southern. We're trying to get everybody as much help as possible. They're mainly focusing on the people that were inside the 1 mile evacuation, but they told us, they guaranteed us, anybody that wanted their house tested for air, they would test the air in their home. So no matter
Inside
where it
that
was.
mile. Norfolk had talked about that at one of the press conferences, that they were going to go to the businesses. So
And what about reimbursement? I'm sorry to fault. What about reimbursement?
you're talking about stuff that we have no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah,
That's
you're
got
gonna
to
have-
go through that assistance line.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Your fire truck's out of service. Will they go back into service? Will you need new trucks? Will you need new equipment?
So I am currently in talks with every manufacturer for our apparatus. We have apparatus from different manufacturers. I'm currently sending all the data we have to them, in talks with them about what their recommendations are as far as safety inspections and what they feel we need to do. We also spoke with, as Director Clark mentioned, that National Guard CST team was here. We had very long, in-depth discussions with them about what we need to do to the trucks to make them safe for the time being. To give you an honest answer, I just don't know yet. We're doing our due diligence to see what we can do to make things better. But I could tell you that my guys aren't going to not go.
One second.
They're 20 minutes after we got home last night from trying to get things cleaned up, we got hit for a structure fire in Unity Township, and every truck in my fleet and all my guys were on the street at that house ready to do work.
Deanne?
Yeah, I wanted to know, as far as the railroad goes, they're making reimbursements. Is that going to continue, or are they done now that the evacuation
No.
order is over?
Yeah, Deanna, we had conversations today, and they were telling me to expect that location to be open for a minimum of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But only for things that were before the evacuation order was lifted, or going forward, because businesses are probably doing cleaning?
No, they're going to take care of all that. They're just saying they expect to be here for 3 weeks because of the sheer volume of people that are reaching out.
Sir?
Mayor, I asked you last night what your thoughts were on moving forward as a community and what you would tell your residents with trains likely to go through. It sounds like the first train went through 2 to 3 minutes after the evacuation order was lifted. What are your thoughts on that? And moving forward, there's been a constant trend of trains going through the community.
So, we were told that no trains will go through town till we lifted the order. I was under the assumption that's what they meant, not till we lifted the order, till everybody was in their home. But as soon as we lifted the order, apparently they started running trains because that's what they said. Anybody who was in incident command last night can tell that I was not very happy with that. It made the village look bad. It made me look bad. My citizens were upset, and I quite frankly was upset too. I know they have a job to do. I want to stress enough, I'm the mayor of a town of 4,700 people. If you think I can stop a railway, you are completely wrong. I can't, unless I go tie myself to the railroad tracks, that's about the only way I can stop them. So, and I'm not going to do that. So, we'll be right with you, sir. I was upset by it, but I know they have a job to do. They have to get through town. My number one concern is our citizens and our health. And if at any point I think that's going to be changed or what they say is not happening, I will call a press conference and I will call them out, and we're going to hold their feet to the fire. This is going to get swept under the rug. I'm not going to be the country bumpkin that gets, talked over by a big corporation. We're going to hold their feet to the fire. They're going to do what they said they're going to do, and they're going to protect the people of this town.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Quickly, if I could, looking long range, oftentimes if people were to entail this, there could be long-range health implications. Any plans in place or any plans to make plans to deal with what could possibly be 5, 10 years down the road? Any kind of study, anything put in place to monitor people's health as a result of this derailment?
As of right now, there's no plans that I know of. We're going to have to consult with the health department and get their recommendation on that. I don't know. I don't want to comment. I'm not a health expert. I'm not a doctor by any means. I think if people see any illnesses or if they're scared something's wrong, or they should contact their primary care physician, get a baseline, and go from there. That's my opinion only. We need to contact the health department and let them decide that.
You mentioned you thanked your workers. Can you talk a little bit about the support that you also received from out of the state and the firemen that came from all over Ohio?
Thank you, because I forgot to say something about that. Rock on. Listen, when that call happened, and it's much like this area, the Western PA, Eastern Ohio area, a lot of small volunteer departments, a lot of low number departments as far as manpower goes, and we all help each other without any question. And the amount of help that we received from departments in 3 states, and I couldn't even tell you how many counties, was without a doubt overwhelming. And those guys, not a single question asked. They come right in. They did exactly what we asked them to do without any question at all. I have tried to be in touch with as many of those chiefs of those departments, if not personally, one of my line officers who I've tasked with doing different things. We've tried to reach out to all of them. We're staying in contact with them about different things that are going on, and we still have some of their equipment here. And I have some extra equipment that I have up in storage We offered it to them to make sure that they could serve their community while we're dealing with this. It was an overwhelming amount of support, even after the initial incident and the secondary incident, to still be able to have multiple agencies here providing services to our citizens while we were, still focusing on what we had going on. I'll never be able to repay that. And I thank every one of them from the bottom of my heart. And I hope to, at some point, be able to personally go shake the hands of every one of those people that were here. Yeah, man?
People who have farms and or livestock, two quick things to cover there. What about the soil specifically, testing for that, and standing water in like ponds or reservoirs or areas that they have on their property that their animals may drink from?
Listen, Fire Chief, EMA Director, Mayor. I honestly don't know. All we can do is tell them to call the EPA and see what the EPA says. I would think that, if they have concerns about that, if they're in that 1 mile evacuated area, the same as testing, that may be something that they can have tested. I honestly don't know.
They should also contact ODNR,
Yeah.
Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and the Ohio Department of Agriculture.
Yeah.
We were told to send any questions like that towards those.
So EPA is not here anymore?
Oh,
yeah. No, they're
they're here.
They're here.
just
They're
not
out
in the
there
press.
working.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they're-
out there working. So.
Yeah, no, they're here.
No, they're
We
here.
we just wanted this to get our information out. They're still here in force, diligently working, monitoring things.
Do you know how long they'll be here?
As long as they're needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chief,
Sure.
as far as the fire last night, can you give any more detail on that?
It was nobody hurt. It was a small contained chimney fire.
Okay.
But I guess my point was to prove that my guys aren't going to stop. We're going to do what we have to do in the safest manner we can do it. And our job just doesn't stop because we're dealing with this. We're still going to go protect our citizens.
Have most of the businesses reopened? Or some of them still shut
As
down?
far as I know, most of them,
Yeah.
some are still shut down to clean. I've only talked to a couple today. I think out of the 3, 2 were still closed just to clean, get everything cleaned up and make sure everything was good.
That's the same thing.
It was kind of late when we announced last night, and we do apologize for the delay in the press conference. We had to make 100% sure that everybody was safe to go in the house. So until we got that last result, we weren't going to send anybody in. So
Will Village Hall be reopened then tomorrow, or
it was open today, I believe.
was it open today?
Yeah.
it'll be it's open now. And all right, I think that. Oh, sorry.
One last, at least for me, East Palestine schools. I mean, they really opened up for you guys all week long.
Yeah, I've been in constant contact with Superintendent Chris Knifer, him and his crew. They've been excellent to work with. I promised him, Norfolk Southern promised him, and the chief promised him that school will be scrubbed from head to toe by a professional company, and there will be air tests done before any child enters that building. There wasn't there wasn't much contaminated, people that were contaminated going in there. I don't want you to think it was a danger to the kids, but just to be on the safe side, most of the people there were incident command, so they, and the Ohio National Guard people that are doing the test, that, they deconned outside. So I don't, I am 100% guaranteed our children are safe, and so is the superintendent. He agreed that nobody will go back to that school. So
there's no plans yet when they'll open?
no, as of right now, they're closed for the rest of the week, and that's up to him. So I can't ask. He was gracious enough to close, which he sort of had to, but I have no power of that.
I had my guys, actually, we just finished before I came here. We just went over and took down all of our stuff from the command center aspect and our sleeping in cots in classrooms. We got all of our stuff out there so that we can get that cleaning crew in there and get that process started for the school.
Do you know when the cleaning crew is gonna be there?
They already started. I
Yeah.
think they were.
Okay.
I think they were up at the high school this morning as soon as the shelter left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? 5, 4, 3, 2. Yes, sir.
I live in the zone. Our family has houses on Alice Street. No, I'm not with the media, but I did have a question.
Okay.
We know that we're being reimbursed for the expenses that come up to the point that now we can go back to our homes. I'm knowing people, know them, that are hiring companies that are, the range is $700 to $900 to come in and clean their house. Are they comfortable assuming that the railroad is going to pay for that to clean their homes? What is the responsibility or the expectations that we should have from this point forward from the railroad?
You would need to contact, before I would pay anybody, I would contact the Norfolk Southern Family Assistance, tell them what your plans are and check with them.
Okay.
I also want to put out a warning too. There's going to be a lot of people trying to come into town. Please check this is just not a fly-by-night company and it's a professional company. If you're worried about having your house cleaned, please don't just have, somebody that, if you're really that worried about it, I just hate to see our citizens taking advantage of.
I'll try and get that word out.
Yeah.
I need it too, because I was appalled to think that someone would pay $900 and it not be reimbursed.
Yes.
Yeah.
absolutely.
You would have to
Yeah,
check with them.
just call that Family Assistance Center.
Yeah,
maybe.
but
Make
definitely
sure you're dealing with the right companies.
for the citizens, please verify all these companies coming around. I would hope that nobody would take advantage of it, but we all know the day and age we live in. Check those businesses, check with the Better Business Bureau and other organizations and make sure that they're legitimate. Hey, man.
Just one final thing. You got about 8 residents here, it appears. Have you been able to answer their questions face to face at all?
I personally have not because I've been so busy. I've had a couple swing by the firehouse to say thanks and a couple of things like that, but I haven't had an opportunity to go out to talk to anybody.
Do you guys have any questions?
She just asked about having a house.
They said they're too busy to come tomorrow morning. So here I am with my family, my dogs, my bird, just brought them all home, and I'm in the second one.
Did they give you a time frame when they come?
They said tomorrow.
Yeah, we're doing our best, but I mean, they're trying their best too, and it's, with having a contractor and the EPA, I feel a lot more comfortable that we're not just relying on what the contractor says. So that it's slowing down the process because we can't, expand. So, like I said, we're trying our best as far as the village is concerned. We're pushing them. If we see inadequacies, we're trying to get them, moving on. So.
You said appreciate everything all y'all have done, but you said you had stuff that was out of service.
Yes, sir.
And what is it out of service for?
From being in contact down at the fire scene when my guys were saving the buildings down there and keeping things from getting disastrously worse than what it was. Some of those, we were down close enough that some of those chemicals and stuff.
So are those buildings down there out of service, or?
I can't answer that. All I can speak to is that my guys' gear and talking to the manufacturers in that close proximity, that we need to do something with our gear and replace it in some of our equipment. As far as that, I honestly don't know.
They were actually in the chemical.
Yeah.
It wasn't from the air. It was from
We
they were walking through the chemical, getting into. I've suggested anybody that was down there actually walking in, they get their their car their vehicle professionally detailed. We were being told by the most part it's just soap and water, but we're not professionals. We're not we're not chemists. We don't know. We're just trying. We're helping people out the best we can with our knowledge, and we're relying on the experts.
I'm going off of the manufacturer's suggested practice for our type of gear and what we use it for, and what they recommend once this happens and we come in contact with stuff like this. And I think that there's just an abundance of safety involved too, in the nature of our business. Yeah, absolutely. So but for your question, I honestly don't have an answer for you, sir.
So
sorry.
This is probably going to be our last press conference for a while. Just everything's settled down. Any major pertinent changes, anything change, we will call a press conference. We'll give you as much time as we can. But for now, we're going to have to rely on the numbers that are up on the board. As always, if you have questions, please call. We've been inundated with calls today in dispatch. So if it's a serious inquiry, please call. If you're worried, please call them. If you don't get the answer from them, then call us. But the village offices and the village dispatch isn't the first line here. That's why we're providing all this information. But if you're not getting the right answers, by all means, please call the village, and we will try to get you any information you can. We want to be as transparent as possible. We don't want any hard feelings, and the village residents is our number one safety in getting the village back to the way it was before the accident. So I want to thank you all. Thank you everybody for your professionalism, and thank you for being nice with us, because we're not used to this. So. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Mayor, you want to get me?
I know who you are.
Nice to meet you. I walked in a few minutes late because I was live at 4.
Yes, sir.
Can I run through what I flagged and see if I missed anything that you think?
Do you want?